Poetry written in the traditions of Edward Lear, Dr. Seuss. Irreverent, witty, absurd, and above all fun, this is the poetry that talks to young readers where they live. Children's poetry, and the reason we have this award, is crucial to the future of all poetry, because without these future generations of poetry lovers, poetry will have no future. The first Children's Poet Laureate is with us tonight, I'm happy to say. 8 years ago, the legendary children's poet Jack Prelutsky set a scope and a tone for this honor that continues in tonight's award. Jack, will you stand and receive our thanks? If some of you are new to children's poetry, I'd point out it's different in some ways from adult or academic poetry, where a book by a good poet might sell a couple thousand copies. Jack, I don't know how many million copies of your books you have in print, but I lost track several million ago. And it's because the audience for that is one that parents and grandparents love to buy and share with their children. And it's the entry point for a lifetime love of poetry. The Children's Poet Laureateship is a 2-year appointment, and tonight we are pleased to announce the 4th in a line of consummate masters in the art of poetry written for children. Born in 1962, our laureate tonight is from a younger generation than the laureates who precede him. He grew up in California and now lives with his wife and 2 children in the state of Washington, and I'm happy to say all 4 of them are with us tonight. He has published 11 books of poetry, and he is also, by the way, the creator of the world's most visited children's poetry website, Poetry4, is in the numeral 4, poetryforkids.com. He has published 11 books of poetry, and a sample of his work is in the red envelope at your seats if you look at it later. And if that doesn't let the cat out of the bag, because this is an announcement, please join me in welcoming the country's newest Children's Poet Laureate, Mr. Kenn Nesbitt. The microphone to Ken in just a second, but the laureateship has 2 things to it. One is a check or honorarium, which I'm pleased to give to you, Ken. And the other...
Can I just give this directly to my children's orthodontist?
I'm sure that'll work with the IRS. This is also a special medal that the foundation had designed and struck, as the saying goes, for the Children's Poet Laureate. So instead of the adult Pegasus you see on our logo, this is the logo that James Thurber drew for the magazine in the 1940s. And on the back is a line. Can you read it from Emily Dickinson?
Permit a child to join.
Permit a child to join. So please join me in welcoming you.
I am so not used to presenting from behind a lectern. I like to use everything I've got for kids. I have a small speech prepared, and then I'd like to read you some of my doggerel. First, I'd like to just say thanks and acknowledge my wife, Anne, and my children, Max and Madison, who are here tonight. My in-laws, Ed and Judy Aylward, who are here. My good friend, Greg Morris, Lori Dunn, who came all the way here. And Greg, I should say, his daughter was the inspiration for my first poem. And also, I want to thank my good friend and publisher, Bruce Lansky. There you are, Bruce. I love you. Thank you so much for making the trip for tonight's ceremony. And I want to acknowledge my good friends Jack and Carolyn Prelutsky for all of your love and support over the last 15 years. I've spent the last 15 years trying to trick kids into thinking that reading is fun and writing is easy. into believing that they can do it too. Because I don't think that anyone tries anything new until they believe that they can. Until that light bulb goes off over their head and they think, hey, I could do that. I have spent my life becoming the man that my 10-year-old self would have wished for. As a 10-year-old boy, I was in awe of Don Martin, comic artist for Mad Magazine, William Gaines, the publisher of Mad Magazine. At 12, I discovered Lewis Carroll and the art of Jack Kirby, the comic book artist who created Captain America. When I was 18, I first heard Weird Al Yankovic. At 20, I came across the work of Shel Silverstein. At 25, I first saw Jim Carrey in a small comedy club. And at 32, I found a book by Jack Perlutsky in a tiny bookshop in Edinburgh, Scotland. Now, it was because of Shel Silverstein's poem, Sarah Sylvia Stout, courtesy of a CD by Dr. Demento, and in part thanks to Greg's daughter Amber, that I wrote my first poem. But it was Jack Perlutsky's Something Big Has Been Here that made that light bulb go off over my head. I don't expect Jack would appreciate being compared to Weird Al or Jim Carrey. But I believe that my work owes a debt to all of these geniuses of humor and creativity. Kids need someone to make them believe that they can do it, whatever it is for them. Sometimes it's parents that convince them, sometimes it's a teacher who gives them that flash of insight. I have always tried to be that person for as many kids as possible. And this is my mission as Children's Poet Laureate, to use poetry to convince kids that they too can be creative individuals capable of doing amazing things. Now, I have some poems that I'd like to read for you this evening. This first is from my first book, The Aliens Had Landed at Our School. And this is Advice from Dracula. Don't ever dine with Frankenstein. He feasts on flaming turpentine. He chomps and chews on soles of shoes and quaffs down quarts of oily ooze. At supper time, he'll slurp some slime. He's known to gnaw on grisly grime. His meals of mud and crispy crud will curl your hair and chill your blood. Your hair may turn completely white. You may pass out or scream in fright. Your skin will crawl, your throat will burn, your eyes will bulge, your guts will churn. Your teeth will clench, your knees will shake, your hands will sweat, your brain will bake. You'll cringe and cry, you'll moan and whine. You'll feel the chill run down your spine. You'll lose your lunch. You'll lose your head. So come and dine with me instead. From my book, When the Teacher Isn't Looking, this is Snow Day. Snow Day, Fred said. All play. Let's sled. No school, just snow. Way cool. Let's go. Fred ran in shed, had plan, got sled. Go slow, Mom said. I know, said Fred. Uphill went Fred, downhill Fred sped. Sled streaked on past, Mom shrieked, too fast! Snow blew, can't see. Fred flew, hit tree, Sled bent, Fred's head got dent. Poor Fred, he cried. Now plays inside snow days. I have a poem from my book, Revenge of the Lunch Ladies, and this is called Bedhead. I can't do a thing with my hairdo. I've tried, but it's simply no use. I can't make it stay where I put it today, with styling gel, hairspray, or mousse. No bobby pin, brush, or bandana can get my hair under control. I've tried every comb, every clip in my home, and covered my head with a bowl. I've tried using forks in frustration. I've tried using pokers and picks. I've tried using straps. I've tried headbands and caps. I've even tried shoestrings and sticks. Regardless of how I attack it, I simply cannot make it stay. I guess I can't win, so I'll have to give in and look like my students today. This next poem I'm going to have read by my daughter. My daughter Madison, well, you know, quite often when I visit schools, kids will ask me if my poems are ever inspired by my children, or if my children ever give me ideas for poems. And I tell them no, not on purpose anyway. This poem, Madison, would you like to come up here? This is my daughter Madison. And one day I was in my room, I was reading a book, and I heard this yell from the other room. And where most parents would say, gosh, I better go see what's going on. Or they would say, hey, you guys, knock it off. I said, huh, that sounds like a poem. And I will let you take over from here.
Okay, so this is Don't Ever Bite Your Sister by Kenn Nesbitt with a little help from me and my brother Max. Don't ever bite your sister. Don't kick her in the shin. Don't slap your sister silly, and don't sock her on the chin. Don't tape a kick me poster on your sister's back. Don't take your stinky socks off and then put them in her pack. Don't purchase plastic spiders and place them on her head. Don't leave your rubber rattlesnakes inside your sister's bed. Don't do this to your sister, for if you ever do, I'm pretty sure she may do something even worse to you.
I owe a lot of my career to my father. When I was a child, my father used to recite poetry at the drop of a hat. He would recite Rudyard Kipling and Robert Service and many, many other poets. And he also would sing. He would sing while he was driving. He would sing while he was walking around the house, while he was working. And a lot of the songs that he sang were songs from his childhood. How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. And one of the songs that he sang that I never quite understood was a song called Frere Jacques. And I found out that I didn't understand it because it was in French. And I don't speak French. So I translated it into English. So in English, Frere Jacques is ferret soccer. I'm not sure this is a 100% totally accurate translation, but it's the best I could do because I don't speak French. Ferret soccer, come with me, let's go see. I have heard that mainly ferrets play insanely. That sounds great. I can't wait. Ferret soccer, there's a kick, hard and quick, aiming at the goalie, but he's moving slowly, hit his snout, knocked him out. Ferret soccer, what a shocker, holy cow, what's up now? Took a new approach and aimed it at the coach, and he's out cold. That was bold. Ferret soccer, off their rocker, this is bad, they've gone mad, sending balls a-flying, audience is crying, got us too, big boo-hoo. Game is over, ferrets win, see them grin, that was such a thrill, hey, I can't wait until they play again, let's go then. From my book, The Armpit of Doom. Please don't read this poem. Please don't read this poem. It's only meant for me. That's it. Just move along now. There's nothing here to see. Besides, I'm sure you'd rather just go outside and play. So put the poem down now and slowly back away. Hey, why are you still reading? That isn't very nice. I've asked you once politely. Don't make me ask you twice. I'm telling you, it's private. Do not read one more line. Hey, that's one more. Now stop it. This isn't yours, it's mine. You're not allowed to read this. You really have to stop. If you don't quit this instant, I swear I'll call a cop. He'll drag you off in handcuffs, and he'll lock you up in jail, and leave you there forever until you're old and frail. Your friends will all forget you. You won't be even missed. Your family, too, will likely forget that you exist. And all because you read this instead of having fun. It's too late now, amigo. The poem's nearly done. There's only one solution. Here's what you'll have to do. Tell all your friends and family they shouldn't read it too. Before they kick me off of the stage, I just have one last poem I'd like to read for you. This is actually an advanced reading copy of my next book, which is my first board book. This is a bedtime book for babies, and it's called Kiss, Kiss, Goodnight. When baby bunnies go to bed, their mothers kiss them on the head. Inside their burrows, warm and deep, they close their eyes and fall asleep. When little kittens need to nap, they snuggle in their mother's lap. And bundled up in fluffy fur, they shut their eyes and start to purr. When lambs are tired and hit the hay toward the end of every day, their mothers, keeping close at hand, will nuzzle them to slumberland. When cuddly cubs begin to doze, their mothers stroke them on the nose, then grumble softly in their ear. In bear, that means, good night, my dear. When sleepy chicks are in their nest and getting ready for their rest, their mother chickens hug them tight and peck their cheeks and chirp, good night. And with that nuzzle, kiss, or hug, the animals sleep warm and snug, the way that babies always do when mothers tell them, I love you. Thank you so very, very much, and I will turn it back over to you.
Chris, I don't even know what you